Happy Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. To God be the glory for yet another closing of a beautiful day. Yes, it's the first evening of summer break for teachers. Students' first evening was yesterday, but the point is, it's a time of rest and relaxation. And he is getting his rest, and I had to wake him up saying like, we had to do devotion. You go back to bed right afterwards. So we would have gone to Proverbs 23 and 2Chron.16. And I want to ask, son, what spoke to you out of either or both of them? 23:1? Is that where it says, put a knife to your throat and be not taken by appetite? Is that the one? Let's see. Or is it, yeah, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. And then that's when it says, put a knife to thy throat. Don't get caught up with what's in front of you. If thou be a man given to appetite, be not desirous of dainties, for they are deceitful meat. And then it goes into labor not to be rich, because the things, the wealth, the riches that you have make themselves as wings and they fly away. Everything's temporary here. So don't have this job and think that you're just trying to work for the tangibles. But I'm going to let him explain what spoke to you.
Just explain all of it. But it's just important not to work for things that have no, it won't matter when you're gone. I guess riches will matter when you're gone, but more so maybe if you're working for wealth, to provide for our family instead of being rich. Rich is more so, sounds more egotistical, but if you're building to provide, then working to provide, then that's a little more understandable. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
You want to work to provide for yourself and for the future and to be able to bless others? Is that what you're saying? In so many words. Yeah. I think that is admirable. I was telling some students yesterday, it was like the last day of school and grades were already turned in. And someone asked, I had them do an activity, and they were like, is this for a grade? And the grades were already turned in. I said, listen, what is the middle letter of the word heart? And they're like, A. I was like, that's what you work for. That's what you want to get your satisfaction from. You want to do your best for your heart, for yourself, not for grades so much and not for money, because that's always going to be external reinforcement. You're always going to be chasing. You can always be chasing. But if you can say I want to get satisfaction for myself, I want to get this A because guess what? That's called intrinsic rewards. And the more you build that type of internal motivation, woo, you're talking about satisfaction with everything that you put your hand to do. You won't be miserable, because then you won't be miserable when this job change or the circumstances change or you don't get paid this or this, blah, blah, blah. No. Work for the A that's in your heart. And especially when it aligns with God's will, you're doing it to glorify Him. He's the one, because all this is temporary. And it sounds like that you are having your heart and mind in the right place. And this has something to do with the scripture where it's one of my favorite, where it says, my son, if you have a wise heart, my heart will rejoice as well. My heart rejoices when you speak, when you do what is right. So that's wonderful. I appreciate what you're saying. In 2Chron.16, we know Asa started right. He was a king in Judah, and he did what was right in the beginning. He sought the Lord's counsel, and he sought the approval of the Lord, but then he started messing up. He was confronted with some battles, some wars, and he consulted with man and people, and he tried to do things on his own instead of consulting the Lord, and that displeased the Lord. And it says in the 36th year of Asa, his reign. This is chapter 16. That, like I said, he came against another kingdom, and the seer, a prophet, says, listen, Asa, you didn't rely on the Lord in verse 9. And because of that, he delivered them into thine hand. And what he was saying in verse 9, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro across the earth, looking for the heart. We're talking about the heart a lot tonight. Looking for the heart that is perfect toward him. And what he was saying is, but you did the opposite. You did foolishly. So let's make sure that our heart is pure, that we're trying to please the Lord, not for accolades, not for likes, not for anything external that will fly away, that is temporary, but it is to it's to please the Lord, and he will secure our heart. He will make it established when we fix our eyes on him and his will. Hey, then we'll be able to enjoy the blessings and rejoice in our heart forevermore. All right, let's have a wonderful evening. You go back to sleep and know that God will give blessed joy and rest as we seek him first.